He thought it was just another routine call about a suspicious man sitting in a luxury car dealership lounge. But within minutes, Officer Travis Malloy would discover he had just laid hands on the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, and his 8-month career was about to collapse in real time under the unblinking eye of his own body camera. "Sir, I need you to step outside with me." The words were firm, rehearsed, carrying the sharp edge of authority that Malloy had been polishing since graduating from the academy. Langley Heights Auto Gallery, 15 minutes outside Arlington, catered to executives, defense contractors, diplomats, the kind of clientele accustomed to privacy and discretion. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed rows of imported sedans. Espresso machines hissed softly behind the reception desk. In the customer lounge, leather chairs sat arranged around glass tables stacked with financial magazines. Dr. Adrian Cole looked up slowly from the secure tablet resting on his knee. Dark blazer. Open collar. Wireframe glasses. Calm expression. "Is there a problem, officer?" Malloy didn't answer the question. His body camera had activated automatically when he exited his patrol vehicle at 14:17 hours. The timestamp now documented every second. "We've received a report of suspicious behavior," Malloy said. "I'm going to need you to come outside." Cole remained seated. "Suspicious how?" A flicker of irritation crossed Malloy's face. The dealership manager, Brian Kessler, hovered near the reception counter, watching but not intervening. 10 minutes earlier, a customer, white, mid-50s, designer handbag, had approached him. "There's a man in the lounge who doesn't look like he belongs," she had whispered. Kessler had glanced toward the seating area and seen a black man in jeans and a blazer sitting quietly, scrolling on a device. He had dialed 911. "He's just sitting there," Kessler told dispatch. "But something feels off." Now Malloy stood over that same man, hand resting near his cuff pouch. "Someone matching your description was seen casing vehicles," he said. Cole tilted his head slightly. "Matching my description?" "Black male, mid-40s, sitting in the lounge for an extended period." A pause. "That's enough for me to investigate." Cole set his tablet gently on the table beside him. "Officer, this is a customer lounge. I am a customer. My vehicle is being serviced." "Stand up." The word landed heavy. Around them, conversations died. A salesman froze mid-sentence beside a display model. A couple examining a silver coupe turned slowly to watch. "On what legal basis?" Cole asked evenly. Malloy stepped closer. The bodycam frame tightened. "On the basis that I'm conducting an investigation." "Into what crime?" Malloy's jaw flexed. "Don't make this difficult. I'm asking for probable cause." The silence stretched thin. Malloy's fingers brushed the metal of his handcuffs. "You can stand up voluntarily," he said, voice dropping, "or I can put you in cuffs and escort you out." A murmur rippled across the showroom. Cole rose slowly, not in compliance, but in calculation. "For the record," he said clearly, projecting toward the officer's chest camera, "I am not resisting. I am being ordered to leave a business where I am lawfully present." Malloy reached forward and gripped his arm. The contact was unnecessary, forceful, meant to assert dominance. The dealership's overhead security camera captured the angle perfectly. "Let's go." Cole did not pull away. "Officer Travis Malloy," he read from the nameplate. "Badge number 6142. I suggest you release my arm." Malloy gave a short, humorless laugh. "Or what?" Cole met his eyes. "I am Dr. Adrian Cole, director of the Central Intelligence Agency." The words hung in the air like shattered glass. Malloy blinked once, then smirked. "Sure you are." A few customers exchanged startled glances. Cole continued calmly. "My identification is in my inside jacket pocket. My vehicle, a graphite gray sedan, is currently in Bay 4. The service advisor can confirm that in under 60 seconds. Malloy tightened his grip. "You think flashing a fake badge is going to scare me? I am offering you the opportunity to verify before you escalate." "You're already escalating." Malloy began guiding him toward the showroom exit. The manager shifted uncomfortably, but said nothing. "Officer," Cole said, voice still measured, "you are detaining me without articulable suspicion. This interaction is being recorded." "Yeah," Malloy replied, tapping the camera on his chest. "It is." From the service corridor, a technician hurried forward. "Wait, officer, that's Dr. Cole," he said breathlessly. "He's a regular client. His car's in Bay 4. Malloy hesitated for half a second. just enough for doubt to flicker across his face before pride crushed it. "Step back," he ordered the technician. Cole slowly reached into his jacket with deliberate care, 2 fingers extracting a leather credential case. He flipped it open. The federal seal gleamed under showroom lights. Identification. Signature. Security markings. Malloy stared. For 3 seconds. 4. 5. The body cam recorded everything. The shift in posture, the draining color, the tightening throat. "Release my arm," Cole said quietly. Malloy did. The silence inside Langley Heights Auto Gallery became suffocating. Somewhere near the espresso machine, a cup shattered against tile. Cole straightened his sleeve where the officer's grip had wrinkled the fabric. "You responded to a complaint about a man sitting," he said. "You did not ask the dealership to verify my presence. You did not observe a crime. You initiated physical contact without cause." Malloy swallowed. "I was responding to a call." "You were responding to a description," Cole corrected. "There is a difference." Outside, the distant wail of approaching sirens began to build. Not local patrol units this time, but something heavier, deeper, unmistakably federal. Malloy glanced toward the glass entrance as black SUVs turned into the lot. Cole's expression did not change. "Officer," he said, voice steady as steel, "this is the part where your investigation ends and mine begins." The moment Officer Travis Malloy saw the black SUVs roll into the parking lot, lights flashing but sirens cut, he realized this was no longer a routine stop. It was a federal response, and the 11 minutes captured on his body camera were about to become evidence. The glass doors of Langley Heights Auto Gallery slid open again, but this time the posture was different, controlled, deliberate, unmistakably official. 2 protective security officers entered first, followed by representatives from the Central Intelligence Agency and agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Their credentials were already visible before they spoke. "Dr. Cole," one of them said, scanning quickly for injury. "Are you all right?" Adrian Cole adjusted his blazer sleeve, where Malloy's fingers had dug into his arm. "I'm uninjured," he replied calmly. "But I was detained and physically handled without probable cause." The words were precise, deliberate. Malloy attempted to straighten his stance, instinctively reverting to the authority posture he had practiced in mirrors. "I was responding to a suspicious person call," he said, voice suddenly thinner. An FBI agent turned toward him. "Officer, you are not under arrest at this moment," she stated evenly. "But you are being detained pending investigation. Your body camera is now federal evidence. Remove your hands from your equipment belt." The dealership fell silent except for the faint hum of overhead lighting. Customers who had frozen minutes earlier were now openly recording on their phones. The dealership manager, Brian Kessler, looked as though the floor beneath him had turned unstable. Malloy's weapon was secured first. Then his body camera was unclipped with gloved hands. "I need that back," Malloy said reflexively. "No," the agent replied. "You don't." Dr. Cole remained near the lounge area where the encounter had begun, the gray leather chair still slightly angled from where he had stood. "Preserve all surveillance footage," an FBI agent instructed Kessler. "Interior and exterior. Do not overwrite a single frame." Kessler nodded quickly. "Of course. Absolutely. You placed the 911 call." "Yes." "On what basis?" Kessler hesitated. "A customer said the man didn't look like he belonged." The agent's eyes narrowed slightly. "Was he committing a crime?" "No." "Disturbing anyone?" "No." "Then why call police?" Kessler had no clean answer. Meanwhile, Malloy stood near the entrance, no longer in control of the scene he had created. One of the federal officers requested his patrol vehicle dash footage. Another requested dispatch logs. Within 30 minutes, the entire interaction had shifted from street-level enforcement to federal case assessment. Dr. Cole stepped aside with the lead FBI agent. "The officer declined verification," he explained. "I offered identification before escalation. He chose physical contact." "We have it on camera," the agent replied. "All of it." Malloy attempted again to defend himself. "He matched the description," he insisted. "Black male, mid-40s, sitting too long." The words sounded worse now that he heard them repeated aloud. "Sitting too long?" the agent asked. "In a customer lounge?" Malloy didn't answer. The dealership technician who had intervened earlier provided a statement. "He's been coming here 2 years, the technician said. "We all know him." "Did the officer ask you to confirm before grabbing him?" No outside, additional federal vehicles arrived. Not dramatic, not chaotic, but methodical. The tone had shifted from confusion to investigation. Malloy's immediate supervisor was contacted and instructed to report to the scene. Internal Affairs was notified. By 1600 hours, Malloy had been transported, not in handcuffs, but not free, to provide a formal statement. His patrol duties were suspended pending review. The body camera footage was uploaded directly into federal custody. 11 minutes. No criminal conduct observed. No articulable suspicion documented beyond race and presence. Repeated refusal to verify identity. Physical seizure without legal basis. Back at the dealership, agents interviewed the original complaining customer. What made him suspicious? An investigator asked. He just didn't fit, she said. Didn't fit what? Silence followed. He was just sitting there. That phrase again. Meanwhile, federal investigators began examining Malloy's background. 8 months on the force. Prior academy notations regarding implicit bias indicators. 2 civilian complaints alleging disproportionate stops of minority drivers. Both closed without disciplinary action. Stop and frisk data reveal the pattern. 23 stops. 19 involving Black or Hispanic individuals. 0 arrests. 0 citations. Proactive policing, Malloy had labeled it in reports. Digital forensics subpoenaed his public social media history. Reposts about cleaning up neighborhoods. Comments mocking suspicious loiterers in affluent districts. A private group chat surfaced during phone extraction. These upscale spots are easy stats, he had written 3 weeks prior. They call us for anything. The phrase now read like prophecy. Within 10 days, a federal grand jury began reviewing preliminary findings. The charge framework took shape: deprivation of rights under color of law, unlawful detention, assault, and falsification of incident documentation. Malloy's official report claimed Dr. Cole refused cooperation and exhibited evasive behavior. The body cam footage contradicted each line. Calm tone. Clear identification. No resistance. The dealership surveillance footage provided 4 additional angles, including a crystal-clear overhead shot of Malloy's hand gripping Cole's arm. Frame by frame, investigators slowed the footage. No threat posture. No sudden movement. Just an officer acting on assumption. Dr. Adrian Cole returned to work the next morning at CIA headquarters in Langley. He declined press comment. Internally, however, the message was unmistakable: documentation matters. Meanwhile, Officer Travis Malloy sat in an interview room beneath fluorescent lighting, replaying the encounter in his mind. The moment he laughed at the credentials. The moment he chose not to verify. The moment pride overrode procedure. The system he believed would shield him had shifted. Not because of who he detained, but because the Constitution applied equally, even when inconvenient. And as federal prosecutors assembled the case, one fact became unavoidable. This had started with a call about a man sitting in a chair. It would end in a courtroom. The trial began 6 months later in federal court in Richmond, and from the first minute the prosecution made one thing clear. This case was not about confusion, not about a split-second life or death decision, not about officer safety in a volatile encounter. It was about a choice. A series of deliberate decisions made by Officer Travis Malloy when he encountered a Black man sitting quietly in a customer lounge and decided that presence alone was suspicious enough to justify force. The courtroom was packed. Media lined the back wall. Civil rights observers filled 2 rows. Malloy sat at the defense table in a dark suit that fit awkwardly over the posture of someone used to wearing a uniform. 8 months on the force had turned into an indefinite suspension, then termination, and now federal indictment. Across the aisle sat representatives from the Central Intelligence Agency and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, not in dramatic show of power, but as institutional witnesses to what had unfolded. The prosecution opened with the body camera footage. 11 uninterrupted minutes projected onto a screen large enough for every juror to study every expression. They watched Malloy enter Langley Heights Auto Gallery. They watched him approach without greeting. They heard him say, "Stand up." They heard Dr. Adrian Cole ask, "On what legal basis?" They heard Malloy respond, matching the description. They heard that description: blackmail. Sitting too long. The prosecutor paused the footage at the exact frame where Malloy's hand closed around Cole's arm. "This," she said, stepping closer to the jury box, is the moment constitutional protection was replaced with assumption. The defense argued procedure. They argued that Malloy was responding to a citizen complaint. They argued he had a duty to investigate. But under cross-examination, the investigating FBI agent testified that no articulable suspicion had been documented prior to the physical contact. Did the officer observe a crime? No. Did he attempt verification with dealership staff before initiating force? No. The 9/11 recording was played next. He's just sitting there, the manager had told Dispatch. Jurors exchanged glances. The prosecution then introduced stop data, 23 stops in 8 months. 19 involving minorities. 0 arrests. 0 citations. A pattern without outcome. The digital forensic analyst took the stand and read excerpts from Malloy's recovered messages. Upscale areas are easy stats. They don't expect us to question certain people. The defense objected. Overruled. Then Dr. Adrian Cole testified. He wore the same style of dark blazer he had worn that afternoon. His tone was steady, clinical. Why did you remain calm? The prosecutor asked. Because escalation creates justification, Cole replied. Documentation removes it. He described offering identification, described the refusal, described the laugh. At any point did you resist? No. At any point did you threaten the officer? No. The defense attempted to imply misunderstanding. You must admit, Director Cole, that officers must make quick decisions. Cole nodded slightly. Yes. But those decisions must be grounded in observable behavior, not demographic assumption. The courtroom went still. Malloy chose to testify. It lasted 2 hours before the unraveling began. I believed he might be casing vehicles, he said. Based on what? The prosecutor asked. The call. What in your own observation suggested criminal intent? Silence stretched across the room. He was just sitting there, Malloy finally said. The phrase echoed again, heavier now, stripped of defense. During closing arguments, the prosecutor stood directly before the jury. This case is not about who Dr. Cole is. Strip away his title. Strip away his credentials. What remains? A citizen sitting in a chair. The Constitution protects that citizen. The badge does not override that protection. The jury deliberated for 3 hours and 17 minutes. When they returned, no one needed to read the room to know. Guilty on all counts. Deprivation of rights under color of law, unlawful detention, assault, falsification of official report. Malloy stared forward as the verdicts were read, jaw rigid, hands clasped too tightly. Sentencing occurred 6 weeks later. The judge reviewed the pre-sentence report in silence before speaking. Officer Malloy, authority requires restraint. Instead, you exercise prejudice. You ignored verification. You initiated force without lawful basis. Your conduct was not a mistake born of urgency. It was a decision born of assumption. She cited the documented pattern, the false reporting, the abuse of public trust. Then she delivered the sentence, 10 years in federal prison, with no eligibility for early release before 85% served. A murmur swept through the gallery. Malloy closed his eyes briefly as U.S. Marshals stepped forward. The handcuffs clicked, a sound he had once controlled. Outside the courthouse, reporters asked Dr. Cole whether he felt vindicated. This was never personal, he said. This was procedural. The Constitution is either applied evenly or it isn't applied at all. The police department announced mandatory bias retraining and revised verification protocols. Langley Heights Auto Gallery implemented new non-discrimination response policies requiring internal verification before any law enforcement call. The original complainant settled a civil matter privately and declined comment. Officer Travis Malloy was transferred to a federal correctional facility within 90 days. His appeal was filed, then denied. Dr. Adrian Cole returned to his schedule at CIA headquarters. Months later, his vehicle again required service. He returned to the same dealership. Same leather chairs. Same glass walls. He sat down in the lounge with a tablet in hand. No one called 911. No officer approached. Because the lounge had never been the threat. The assumption had been. And assumption, when given authority and a badge, had cost a man 10 years of freedom.